Well, good day everyone. It's a nippy day. What I'm going to do today, I was been planning on trying to get done when weather was decent. Didn't work out. Woke up to minus 19 centigrade this morning. It's just about noon and we've warmed up to minus 17 centigrade. Okay, so for those of you friends that are in warmer climes, I'm jealous, no doubt about that. Okay. What I've got here is I'm in a quandary. Okay, now anybody who belongs to Stovaholics, a group on Facebook, knows, and on here on YouTube too, there are fellas that have got, and ladies too, a pile of stoves. Okay, let's look at what I have, and then I'll give you the question. How's that sound? Okay. We'll start with the oldest unit I've got here. And this is a Primus Classic. Famous, infamous, you know, call it what you like, right? It's got a really robust mount on it for holding pots. Now we bought this, and I'm going to lower the camera down so we can look at the table, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm partially cut out of the picture. I'll slide up here a little bit. Maybe that will help, maybe it won't. Okay. Anyway, we bought this when we came to realize that the government isn't always crazy, you know. They do have some smart ideas, intelligent thoughts, whatever. Okay, they recommended everybody to have a 72-hour kit that you could survive without any assistance for 72 hours. Therefore, this two MSRs, and this one, it's the 8-ounce net weight. Okay, now these ones are, it's an old one, matter of fact, from SIR, Sidney I. Robinson, who were bought out by Cabela's in Winnipeg. Used to be mail order and such. So we got it. And then later I adapted, put the MSR igniter with it. So this is robust enough that it wiggles a little bit, yeah. That's bound to happen, you know. But I can take and sit a frying pan, stovetop pots on it, whatever. Works fine in the kitchen, okay? Has a good flame, works well. You can see it's been used. Okay, so that's number one. So it's been around about 9 or 10 years. Okay, I'll sit that down there. Okay. Now, then along came, of course, this one's from Home Hardware, jellied cooking fuel. Now, we know it doesn't cook anything. Not much, anyway. It just doesn't have the robustness to really cook a meal. It's enough to heat up water and such, and yes, I have some of these in the cupboard. Now, by the way, the Primus with canisters is above my kitchen range in the cupboard above where it's got the vent, okay? And I have 3 of these in here, so it is a means at least of warming something. Okay, now from there, as I got looking into more and more outdoor stuff again in my latter years of my wife's life, because we always loved camping, I saw this crazy creation on YouTube. Can you imagine? You're getting the idea, right? It's an IKEA hobo stove. Now I bought this, which has got 6 rows of holes high and a 9-hole high. I made them both originally with a smaller opening. This opening, I enlarged it specifically for use with my Trangia and being able to adjust it. So this came in. Now we know that we can stick, okay, and one over here somewhere. Okay, now if we do that, we can sit our stove on it. We can sit these on top, and I'll just take and dump out my GSI cup, which has been holding a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, so no problem. We can do the hobo stove with a Trangia inside it. No problem. A good unit, Trangia. I like it. But we have limitations. The advantage, of course, we pull these out and go up on top. Come on, get in there. Okay. Now, with it like that, we can have a fire inside. And let's face it, this GSI cup, it'll do no problem making coffee. And we did this with the children, okay? Out deer hunting. My granddaughters loved it. We made cocoa, tea, coffee. And so with the hobo stove, I match it up with 4 aluminum tent pegs. And it's handy. Now, the Trangia, I saw on the internet somewhere, I forget the brand, they were using a container where it was punched in and you rested your Trangia in it. Well, I went and did one of a Campbell soup can. Okay? It works. So, with a bottle of alcohol, we have a fair bit of usability there. Okay, now I'm going to move some of this stuff around here. Now we come to, and I've got the cross pieces in it, so you can see, this is my little Firebox Nano. I love the patina it developed on it. This is a stainless model, and this is the version 2 with it all set up to hold the Trangia. And I gotta admit, that's handy too. And I've used it that way too. It gives it the right height, you know, when you put your pot on top, and it works great. So this has been one of my favorite devices, considering I carry it in my shirt pocket. As it is, of course, we can do the pot on top, and it works good. The advantage of the GSI, of course, is it can do a whole bunch of stuff. So, okay, we've got that. We're moving along. Now, I went and bought a Pathfinder water bottle kit with the stove. And you'll see here, now that's, people said that they use a Pathfinder alcohol burner. And you can see it didn't do well. Others have said, no, they liked using their Trangia far better. And yeah, I can see that. It's going to give us the right height. Pretty much perfect height. I think it'll spread out better. The Pathfinder one did work. It's just it didn't work as well as I really had wanted it to. So that's a means of cooking up something as well. A twig fire or the Trangia. Okay, we're moving along and we come to, yeah, anybody ever recognized one of these things before, right? Now my brand is a Luxada. It's got the adjustable shields, and by the way, if you drop them down inside like that, you can put an awful small cup on them just fine. As long as your fire is not built up too much. If you're using it like Mark Young, he did experiments with using wood pellets, about a half full, Luxada or whatever brand his gasifier stove was. That would be just fine. Now I ordered mine from China, so I got this with it as well. It's just one of those things. So I have versatility there. Also disadvantage still. This is to catch embers underneath. Okay, now we're down to, if you remember when I was going through what am I going to use for cookware for my survival bag. I started out calling it a bug out bag and said, no, it's actually for survival. Okay, and this was the winner for this winter. Okay, it Tokes, 750 milliliter pot with lid. And I had to go to the car. This is cold, okay? It's 17 below out. Okay. Now, you have to warm this thing up before you could ever use it at 17 below. This one is butane, isobutane, and propane. So it's got the 3 ingredients, where the other older one has the 2. It does not have butane, it just has isobutane. Okay, now this is number 2 of my E-Tech cities. Okay, I have 2. The first one, I had to use a windbreak. It was blowing so hard. The wind blew it. Okay. The valve doesn't want to turn. No. It is so cold. Now that I didn't realize either. So, now we know. The valve seal, yeah, that's not quite. It should turn over to coming across a little bit more. We'll let that warm up. See, right out of the car. Now there's something that we learned already, didn't we, from that cold. At minus 17 in the garage, yeah, the seal, of course, this large seal, you can see here, it of course is pliable. But there's also a seal in the valve stem, right? And that is what was not closing right off. That probably will work now. Let's try one more time. And if not, we will discontinue that. Okay. I'm not hearing anything. This one, we just put our finger on it. There we have it. It doesn't pop out like some of them do. The 4 legs are permanently in position there. It's got the igniter on it, and yes, it works cold. Okay. Anyway then, this is what I've got for stoves. So I've got 2 that take the isobutane, butane, Trangia, gel stove. We got the hobo stove. This particular one, I use it down south as a campfire. Why have a big campfire at night when you can have a little one? We've got the Firebox Nano, Pathfinder, and Lixada. Now, think on this. The temperature here, with some regularity in, we'll say December, January, February, will go to 40 below and colder with a wind chill. So what can we deduce from that? Oh, and by the way, I measured Monday and I had 11 inches of snow on the ground. Okay? Sometimes we get as much as 8, 12 inches of snow in one snowfall in just a 1 day or day and a half period. So, with the cold, isobutane will not work below minus 12. Therefore, those guys get a break. Now, this one being designated for in-home use as an emergency because I have electric range, I can still cook up some soup or whatever I want to with it. Okay, it's good. This one, and as we found out, with that cold, until you warm up the stove itself, the valve won't work. Didn't know that. That's something for you all to pass on to your friends if you haven't tried it at near 20 below. Okay, we know this won't cook. It will just warm stuff. or keep things. Where I first saw them used was in warming trays, in a buffet, where they would put those in a holder underneath the large containers that had two of those things underneath it, one at each, towards each end, and it worked fine. Okay, this is coming along for the ride, so it doesn't really count, right? When you've got 20, 30 inches of snow on the ground, in order to use this thing, you've got to dig down to the ground. Otherwise, some big logs to put it on, yeah. But you see, it has holes in the bottom. And so there will be, if you put logs, just logs on top of the snow and sit this on it, disadvantage there. Basically, not usable. During deer season, normally our snow is not that deep, so we can brush it aside with our foot and use it. But not in this instance. Okay. Needless to say, and I have in my pouch here, I've got my aluminum foil pieces to go underneath it to stop it from scorching the natural vegetation underneath it. It's pretty well not going to be usable either, is it? Okay. No, it's not going to work either. Although, I mean, we could do something crazy like that. Still, to support it. And the alcohol burner, I found, to get it started in the wintertime, I put drops of fuel down inside the tin can and dropped it on top, of course with the lids off, and ignited it, it preheated it, and it did work. So that's a possibility, but really, in reality, no. Now the hobo stove, or the Lexata. It's a beautiful stove. It burns well, gives off fantastic heat, but where are you going to put it? Again, bare ground, no. Now, so therefore, and with this underneath it is not going to really help because that fits inside the thing. Okay, so what we're down to is, I've got stoves that work 3 seasons. That's it, right? 3 seasons is the best that we can hope for. Slide back a bit and hopefully not get the sun in my face. Okay, with these, the question comes down to what will work the best. Now, we can get the MSRs and Primus, and I'm not sure what all the brands were now. I've been watching so many YouTube videos and people's evaluations and such. Yes, we can get it so we can turn a canister upside down after it's screwed onto the flex hose, where you ignite the stove, and then after 30 seconds or so you turn it upside down, and what little pressure there is, if any, will go through the lines, preheat, and burn. However, I can't help feel at what temperature does the propane lose its pressure, because you see, I know that propane loses pressure also. I can remember a rural auto repair gas station where they had to take the propane or the oxyacetylene torch, welder's torch, outside and build a fire underneath their huge propane tank that they had to heat the garage, the gas station. So we know that they heated it up, not a great deal, but they heated it up, brought the pressure up so it would feed propane and they could have some heat. So as a fuel, no. I need something that's not large. Messy, well, that comes with anything with a preheater, doesn't it? And I gotta admit, I do like the idea of being able to use naphtha as well as these, because obviously if you can screw these on upside down to use up that last little bit that's in the tank, you know, you're not throwing out a cylinder that's got some in it that won't push enough pressure through to cook on. So therein is one of my problems, and this is probably the wrong one, but it fits, so it's okay. Wood's not going to work because, you see, remember I said I'm about 2 kilometers inside the tree line. 2 kilometers west of me the tree line pretty much ends, and we have open prairie from here all the way to Alberta with just spots where there is brush, trees. Therefore we can't count on this either, or this one, or this one. Okay, there's 4 out of them. Can't count on them. There's nothing I can really count on when it gets cold. So I've been looking at online, because for me to go looking at the Mountain Equipment Co-op store, that's an hour drive each way. Plus, if you take more than an hour, no free parking, because they have free parking at a parkade, but only for an hour. And they don't they don't stock everything in the that's online inventory. Not all the stores stock everything. We don't have any real mountains here within any close distance, so therefore a lot of things are not carried in stock, or they have a low stock level, period. So I would like your suggestions, what you think is the best. Now, to me, the requirements are that I'd be able to use it down to, we'll say 50 below wind chill. I have camped out in the military survival training in the Arctic at 60 below, so I know that temperatures get that cold. But and I'm not going camping in that. Okay, that's not one of my things. Army survival stuff is all long gone, the days in the past. But I'd like to be able to have it that works in the cold. It'll simmer. If you're going to make a soup or a stew or something, and you don't want to be putting it on, taking it off of the stove. And I know I have to delete from the things that you would find in the Appalachian Trail, the Pacific Rim, Trans-Canada Trail. I don't know anybody who travels a Trans-Canada Trail in the wintertime. Why would they, when you could freeze to death and the only thing it would find you would be a bear or a wolf or something like that? So, suggestions, proven suggestions for you or your buddy would be great. One of the caveats also, I have to keep the expense down. It's not like it's something I'm going to be doing regularly, so it doesn't warrant a large investment. By the same token, I need to do something. Otherwise, this is a beautiful sunny day, the sky is clear, that's why it's 17 below out. And we had warm days and the wind turned around from the north, and a front came through, and the temperature dropped from 3 below, 1 above to 3 below, down to 20 below. So if you give me your suggestions, something to look at that I may not have looked at, I'd appreciate that one. Hopefully not too large, like I said, not too expensive, and that's durable as well. I try to be very careful with my gear, but you know how that goes, right? Something that's stable, it's not going to tip over readily. That's a concern also. This little guy, let's face it, it's only about 3 inches in diameter. You know, it's tippy. And also the stove standing on top, as in this one right here, right? There is that little bit of instability, although this was a pretty sound stove. It's staying in the house because the seal on its valve probably will be frozen also. Okay, that's it. We leave that with you. Look forward to hearing from you. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you for those who have signed up to be subscribers. I'm now past the 150 mark. And I know to some of you that may seem minuscule, and it is, I guess. But for me, when I started out as an experiment and wanting to learn, as an encouragement. And I thank you, every one of you, for that. And thank you for the encouragement that I've received in your notes and comments, suggestions. And we're going to look forward to keep right on going, see what we can come up with that I can obtain in the hopefully near future and be able to get out and do a little walking in the woodlot. And I know it's it's a mess right now, but the snowpack trails from the dogs and their walkers makes it a bit easier. Not so easy to trip over brambles. That's it from here, Paradise Village, that is, in eastern Manitoba. I thank you for your time, and I'm not going to take any more of it. I appreciate your checking in with me. Ted's clear. Well, stop the press. Would you believe it? I forgot something. There you go. Okay, folks, in addition to the other list of things that we looked at today, I forgot all about it. Right, an Nesbit stove. Now, I have more than one because they come in, for instance, the CAA emergency kit for winter for 2 people or 1 person. The one that they have is not an Nesbit. No, it's a nice shiny black. It's aluminum instead of steel, and it's, according to their site, it's a Coughlin's. The only difference is it's got where the 3 dots are on each side for the detents to hold it in your positions. It has holes. Big deal. So, the bottom's a little different. That doesn't matter. Like I said, it's aluminum, a little more flimsy. That's okay. Anyway, one item that we do carry in the car, who knows, once the car is warmed up, if you're traveling very far, then my E-Tech City probably would work fine too. Okay, but this is part of my CAA emergency kit. And I don't have it here. I brought it in the house and left it in the other room. That's okay. The CAA emergency kit has the Coughlin's. Now, it does not have the Coughlin's tablets like this. It has packages with about a dozen round ones, small ones. They would be about 2 of them would make one of these in size. Okay? Anyway, so this is also a means of providing heat. Now, when I was experimenting, my neighbor lady, we built a kit for her car. She had nothing, and she'd been stuck before, and had, you know, if a couple guys came along in their 4-wheel drive truck and pulled her out and rescued her. Otherwise, it would have been a disaster. Now, what I did, these ones are stuck together, okay, in a 6-pack, and I broke them apart. Because when you break them apart, you can put 4 in here. You can't leave them connected together because they overlap that 1/8 of an inch, okay? Now, what did we find with this? Like I say, when I was teaching her how to use it, we were using a smaller tin cup. Okay, it would be a 1/3 less, maybe a 1/4 less the size of this GSI. It had to be folded like so. And what we found was there was no problem whatsoever to bring that full mug to a boil in less than 10 minutes, about 8.5, 9 minutes or something like that. So it is a means, yes. I don't know how well it works in the severe cold. We were outdoors and it was -2 or something like that. It was one of those things. The lady wanted to learn how to use it, and I don't blame her. You know, she wanted to learn. So because her husband is an hour and 15 minutes drive away in a nursing home, she can't do anything about that. That was the only nursing home that had a space that could take her husband, and so, needless to say, of course she goes to visit him, and she needed to have some way, you know, an emergency kit. Obviously, she put a sleeping bag in the car, And I put the aluminum foil in there just to stop it from getting quite so messy. Anyway, so I wanted to put this down in the kit thing. Now I know my brother uses a Esbit cooker, I think he's using, when he climbs and does hiking in the mountains. And he also uses, I do believe, some type of canister stove with a hose. Not positive on that. Hoping to meet up with him in March down in the Grand Canyons, and if we do, we'll get an idea from him, get more chance to visit with him. Anyway, I wanted to bring this in because this is, like I say, this is probably the most dependable item that I've got. And you get about, depending, 8 to 12 minutes burning time. And so, that's fine. Now, it's got 6 pellets in here, and it will hold. It's got 4. Yeah, it's got 6. So if I take out those 2 loose ones, it'll take a 6-pack fastened together. That would give you 10 tablets. Obviously enough for emergency or otherwise. Anyway, so there you go. Let us not forget the Esbit. It's one of those possibilities too. And I'll try and edit this into the rest of the video clip to make it look decent. Take care, and remember, be warm. At least with a warm hot chocolate or coffee, cup of soup, something. Cold can of stew or soup is just not very appealing. Not to me anyway. Take care. Ted's clear.